You love your grandchild more than almost anything in this world, and that love might be the very thing quietly destroying their confidence. I know how that sounds. Sit with it for a moment. The grandparents who do the most damage are almost never the cold ones or the distant ones. They are the warm ones, the doting ones, the ones who show up early, stay late, and would give the child the moon if they could reach it. That is the part nobody tells you. The harm does not come from a lack of love. It comes from love pointed in the wrong direction. I spent more than 40 years as a psychologist working with families, and I retired thinking I had seen every version of this story. Then I started making these videos, and thousands of you wrote to me with the same ache. You said the child used to be bright and bold, and now they shrink. They stopped trying. They wait to be told they did it right before they believe it, and you cannot understand what changed because you were nothing but kind. Here is the hard truth I'm going to prove to you over the next several minutes. A child's confidence is not built by praise, it is built by competence. And a grandparent who hands a child constant comfort, constant rescue, and constant applause is, without knowing it, robbing that child of the one thing confidence is actually made of: the chance to struggle and come out the other side. Stay with me, because I'm going to show you the exact moments where this goes wrong. There is one phrase, a phrase almost every loving grandparent says 10 times a day, that does more quiet damage than any harsh word ever could. I will tell you what it is, but not yet. First, you need to understand the machinery underneath, or the fix will not stick. Let me tell you what confidence actually is, because most people have it completely backwards. Confidence is not a feeling you give a child. It is a memory the child builds. Every time a young person tries something hard, fumbles it, stays with it, and finally manages it on their own, their brain files away a small piece of evidence. The evidence says, I'm the kind of person who can figure things out. Stack enough of those pieces and you get a confident child, not because anyone told them they were wonderful, but because they have proof. Psychologists call this self-efficacy. The man who built that whole field, Albert Bandura at Stanford, spent decades showing that a person's belief in their own ability comes mostly from one source. He called it mastery experience. Doing the hard thing yourself and watching yourself succeed. His research, repeated thousands of times across the world, found that this single factor predicts how a person handles challenge far better than praise, far better than encouragement, far better than being told they are smart. The child has to do it. They have to feel the struggle in their own hands. Now think about what loving grandparents do. The shoe is on the wrong foot, and the child is fighting with the laces, face red, frustrated, close to tears. What do? You kneel down and fix it. Of course you do. You cannot stand to see them struggle. The bike tips and they wobble, and your hand shoots out to catch them before they even feel the fall. The puzzle piece will not go in and they huff, and you quietly slide it into place when they look away. Each one of these is an act of love, and each one of these quietly tells the child a story. The story is, this is too hard for you. Someone stronger has to do it. That is the first way confidence dies: rescue. And I want you to write something in the comments right now before we go further. Tell me one thing your grandchild struggles with that you almost always step in and finish for them. Be honest. Shoes, food, homework, talking to strangers, whatever it is, just name it. I read these, and naming it is the first step to seeing the pattern in your own home. Here is what makes rescue so hard to stop. It works in the short term. You fix the shoe and the crying stops and everyone feels better, and you got out the door on time. The reward is instant, but the cost is invisible, and it comes later. The child who is always rescued learns to wait for rescue. Why fight the laces when grandma always swoops in by the third try? The brain is efficient. It learns the fastest path to the result. And if the fastest path is helplessness, the child will learn helplessness. Not because they are lazy, because you taught them with love that it is the smart move. I told you there was a phrase. I'm still not going to give it to you yet, because you need one more piece first. But I will say this. The phrase feels like the kindest thing you can possibly say. That is why it is so dangerous. Let me show you the second way confidence dies, and this one surprises people. It is praise. Yes, praise. The very thing you have been told builds children up. There was a study I want you to know about because it changed how I worked with every family afterward. Carol Dweck, a psychologist at Stanford, ran a now famous set of experiments with schoolchildren. She gave them a puzzle to solve, and they all solved it. Then she praised them, but she split them into two groups. One group was told, "You must be so smart at this." The other group was told, "You must have worked really hard at this." One word of difference: smart versus hard, ability versus effort. Then she offered every child a choice for the next round: an easy puzzle they would surely solve, or a harder one they might fail at but would learn more from. The children praised for being smart overwhelmingly chose the easy puzzle. The children praised for working hard overwhelmingly chose the hard one. And when the puzzles got genuinely difficult, the smart group fell apart. They lost confidence. They enjoyed it less. And many of them lied about their scores afterward. The hard group leaned in, stayed curious, and got better. Sit with what that means. The praise that sounds the most loving. "You are so smart. You are so clever. You are so talented," teaches a child that their worth is a fixed thing they must protect. And the way you protect a fixed thing is you stop taking risks that might expose it. So the child praised for being smart becomes the child afraid to look stupid. And a child afraid to look stupid will not raise their hand, will not try the new sport, will not speak up, will not risk the failure that confidence is actually built from. So now you see the trap closing. We rescue them from struggle, and then we praise them for the easy wins that are left. We remove the very experience confidence needs, and then we wonder why it never grew. Here's the phrase, "the one I promised you." The one almost every loving grandparent says many times a day without a second thought. The phrase is, "Here, let me do it for you." I know. It sounds like generosity. It sounds like love, and the intention behind it is pure. But listen to what the child actually hears underneath those words. They hear, "You cannot, so I will." They hear, "Your struggle makes me uncomfortable, so I'm ending it." They hear, "The goal is the finished shoe, not the growing child." Say it once, and it means nothing. Say it 10 times a day, every day, for years, and you have written a sentence deep into that child's sense of self. The sentence is, "I am the one who needs to be done for." Tell me in the comments where you're watching from, your town, your country, because I want to see how far this travels. I have heard "let me do it for you" in a dozen languages now, and the damage is exactly the same everywhere. Love does not have an accent, neither does this mistake. Now I promised you this video would not just frighten you. Fear is useless on its own. So we are going to spend the rest of our time on the fix, and the fix is specific. I am going to give you the exact words to use instead, the exact moments to change, and a simple routine you can start this very week. Stay with me, because the third tip I'm going to share is the one almost nobody gets right, and it is the one that turns a fragile child into a sturdy one. But we build to it. Let us start with the first change because it is the foundation. You are going to replace rescue with what I call the patient pause. When your grandchild hits a struggle, the shoe, the zipper, the hard word in the book, your whole body will scream at you to jump in. You are going to do something that feels almost cruel at first. You are going to wait. You are going to count slowly in your head, and you are going to let them stay in the struggle a little longer than is comfortable for you. This is the part people get wrong. They think helping is the loving act, but the struggle is where the brain is doing its most important work. When a child wrestles with something just beyond their current skill, their mind is building new connections, literally laying down new pathways. If you interrupt that, you do not just fail to help. You erase the work in progress. The patient pause protects the struggle. It says, "I believe you can, and I am willing to be uncomfortable while you prove it." Now you will not just sit there silent like a statue that tips into coldness, and we are not cold people. While you pause, you narrate. You say warm, steady things that keep them in the fight without doing the fight for them. You say you are working so hard on that. You say, "That is a tricky one, isn't it? Keep going." You say, "I can see you thinking. None of these solve the problem." All of them tell the child, "I am with you, and I trust you." That combination, presence without rescue, is the soil confidence grows in. That brings us to the second change, and this is where the Dweck study becomes your daily tool. You are going to gut your praise and rebuild it. Out goes "you are so smart." Out goes "you are so clever," out goes "good girl" and "good boy," which praise the child for being rather than for doing. In comes praise that points at effort, at strategy, at the specific thing they did. Let me give you the exact recipe, because vague advice helps no one. When your grandchild does something, you're going to name 3 things and only 3 things. You name the effort. You name the strategy. You name the persistence. Watch how it works. Instead of "you are so smart," you say, "you kept trying different ways until you found the one that worked." That is exactly how hard things get solved. You did not praise the child. You praised the process. And the process is something they can repeat tomorrow. Smart is a cage. Hard work is a door. Here is a small recipe you can memorize. 3 sentences. The first names what they did. You stack those blocks even when they kept falling. The second names the quality you want to grow. That is called being persistent, and you have a lot of it. The third connects it to who they are becoming. That is the kind of person who finishes things. Notice the last one does call them a kind of person, but a person defined by what they do, not a fixed trait they were born with and must protect. You are growing an identity built on action. That identity does not crack under pressure, because pressure is exactly where it was forged. Say it back to me in your head. Name the action, name the quality. Connect it to who they are becoming. That is your new praise, and you will use it 10 times a day where you used to say "good job." Good job is a full stop. It ends the moment. Your new praise is a seed. It plants something. Now we arrive at the third tip. The one I told you almost nobody gets right. The first 2 protect confidence. This one builds it on purpose, deliberately, like a muscle. I call it manufactured struggle. You are going to stop waiting for hard moments to happen by accident, and you're going to start creating them. Most grandparents do the opposite. They smooth the path. They cut the sandwich, carry the bag, answer for the shy child. When a stranger asks a question, choose the easy book because the hard one causes tears. Every smoothing is a stolen rep. The child never lifts the weight, so the muscle never grows. Manufactured struggle means you deliberately hand the child a task that is a little too hard, and then you stand back, inside the patient pause, and let them wrestle it. Here's how you do it without overwhelming them. The task must sit in a very specific zone. Not so easy, they are bored. Not so hard, they collapse. Just past the edge of what they can already do. Psychologists call this the zone of proximal development, a term from Lev Vygotsky, who showed that children learn the most, not from what they can do alone, and not from what is impossible, but from that thin band in between, the things they can just barely do with a little support. Your whole job is to keep finding that band and gently nudging them into it. Let me make it concrete with an actual routine, because you came here for steps you can use, not theory. Pick one task this week that you normally do for your grandchild. Just one. Maybe it is pouring their own drink from a small pitcher. Maybe it is buttering their own toast. Maybe it is tying the shoes, or zipping the coat, or carrying their own plate to the sink. Choose something they cannot quite do yet, but could almost manage. Then you hand it to them, and you say the magic sentence that replaces, "Let me do it for you." The new sentence is, "You try first, and I am right here." You try first, and I am right here. Read that again. It contains everything. You try first puts the rep on them. I'm right here removes the fear. Together they tell the child, "This is yours to attempt, and you are safe to fail in front of me." That safety is the secret ingredient. A child will only risk struggle in front of someone they trust, not to mock them, not to take over, and not to be disappointed. You are that safe person. That is your superpower as a grandparent. And almost nobody uses it on purpose. Now they will make a mess. The drink will spill, the toast will tear. The shoe will be on the wrong foot with the laces in a knot. Only a sailor could love. And here is the moment that decides everything. When the mess happens, you do not sigh. You do not fix it with a little laugh and a "here. Let me." You treat the mistake as the most normal thing in the world, because to a growing brain it is. You say, "Spills happen. Let us clean it up together and try again." The mistake is not the failure. The mistake is the lesson. The only real failure is the child deciding the task is not for them, and that decision is the one your sigh would teach them. I want to give you a second routine. Because confidence is not only built in tasks, it is built in talk, especially the talk that happens when things go wrong. So many grandparents, the moment a child says, "I cannot do it," rush to comfort. They say, "That is okay. You do not have to. Here, let me." And in that rush of comfort, they accidentally agree with the child. The child said, "I cannot," and the loving grandparent said, "You are right. Stop trying." Comfort that ends the struggle is just rescue wearing a kinder coat. So here is your talk routine for the "I cannot" moment. When the child says, "I cannot do it," you add one word. You say, "You cannot do it yet." That one word, "yet," is one of the most powerful words in the whole of child psychology. It turns a closed door into a hallway. "I cannot tie my shoes" becomes, "I cannot tie my shoes yet," and yet means the skill is coming. It is on its way. It just has not arrived. Dweck and others have studied this word directly, and children who are taught to add "yet" to their "I cannots" show measurably more persistence and recover faster from failure. One word. Use it every single time. Make it a reflex. "I cannot yet. I cannot yet." Tell me in the comments, do you catch yourself saying that is okay? You do not have to. Whenever your grandchild gives up, be honest with yourself and with me. I said it for years before I understood what it was doing. There is no shame in it. There is only the chance to change it starting today. Let me say the core of all this again, in a slightly different way, because I want it lodged so deep you cannot forget it. Confidence is not given. It is grown. And it grows in only one place: the struggle. Everything that removes the struggle, no matter how loving, no matter how kind, no matter how much it soothes the child in the moment, starves the very thing you're trying to feed. Rescue starves it. Empty praise starves it. Smoothing the path starves it. And the cruelest part is that all three feel like love, which is why good people do them for years without ever suspecting the harm. Now I can already hear some of you. You're thinking, "But I do not want my grandchild to suffer. I have so little time with them. I want our moments to be sweet, not full of frustration and tears." I understand that more than you know. When you are a grandparent, the clock is loud. You feel the years. You want every visit to be golden, and so you make it easy, because easy feels like love and frustration feels like waste. But here is what I learned, and I learned it the hard way. The sweetest moments, the ones the child carries for life, are almost never the easy ones. They are the moments they did the hard thing, while you stood beside them believing. The child does not remember the drink you poured. They remember the day they poured it themselves and you cheered. They do not remember the shoe you tied. They remember the morning the laces finally obeyed, and they looked up at your face and saw it shining with pride. You're not choosing between love and struggle. The struggle, witnessed by someone who loves you, is the love. It is the deepest love there is. Let me give you one more piece, because I want you to walk away with a full toolkit, not a handful of ideas. We have covered rescue, praise, and manufactured struggle. The last piece is the one that holds them all together, and it is about your own face. Children read faces before they understand words. Long before, your grandchild is watching your face constantly to learn how to feel about what is happening. This is called social referencing, and it is one of the most studied phenomena in all of developmental psychology. When a baby crawls towards something uncertain, they look back at the parent's face. And if the face is calm, they proceed. And if the face is afraid, they freeze. That never stops. Your 8-year-old still checks your face. Your 12-year-old still checks your face, even while pretending not to. So here is the discipline. When your grandchild struggles, your face must say, "This is fine, and you can do this." Not worry, not pity, not that anxious little wince we make when we watch someone we love have a hard time, because the child will catch that wince, and the wince will tell them, "This is dangerous, this is too much for me. Grandma is scared, so I should be scared." Your calm face is permission. Your calm face says, struggling is safe and normal and nothing to fear. You may have to practice this in a mirror, and I am not joking. Many of us have spent a lifetime making the worried face at the people we love, thinking it was love. It is love. But the calm face is a greater love. because it hands the child courage instead of fear. Put it all together now and see how simple it becomes. When your grandchild faces something hard, you keep your face calm. You hold the patient pause and let them struggle. You narrate warmly without rescuing. You add the word "yet" when they give up. And when they succeed, you praise the effort, the strategy, the persistence. Never just the brain they were born with. 5 moves: calm face, patient pause, warm narration, the word "yet," effort, praise. That is the entire method. You could write it on an index card and tape it to your refrigerator. And honestly, I want you to start small. Do not try to change everything by tomorrow, because you will overwhelm yourself and the child, and you will quit by the weekend. Pick one task and one phrase. The task is the thing you will let them try first while you stand right there. The phrase is, "You try first, and I am right here." That is your whole assignment for the next 7 days. One task, one phrase. Watch what happens to your grandchild's face when they do the hard thing themselves for the first time. That face is the evidence. That face is everything. I want to leave you with this, because I have watched it happen in family after family, and it never stops moving me. The confident child is not the one who was protected from every hard thing. The confident child is the one who was allowed to struggle while someone they loved stood close and believed. You are that someone, the most important someone in that child's life. In some ways even more than the parents, because you carry no exhaustion, no rush, no daily grind. You carry only the love and the time, and now you carry the method. Use it. Your grandchild's confidence is not built in some classroom far away by experts you will never meet. It is built in your kitchen, on your floor, with your calm face and your patient pause, and your simple faith that they can. Tell me below what one task you are going to hand over this week. Write it down where I can see it, because saying it out loud makes it real, and I will be reading, and I will be cheering for you, and for that brave child learning with you beside them.